Hey everybody, it's your friend Sarmate here, and we're back with another episode of Settlement Survival. I hope you're having a fantastic and amazing day today. In this episode, I want to kind of work on some things that can help alleviate our timber need. As you can see, most of our land is barren. We have been gathering things like crazy, left and right, all over the place. Totally bare. Cleaned it out really well. I did complete over here the two forester huts that are kind of in junction here with our apiary. We have two people working at this one, felling and planting trees. And then we have three people at this forester's hut just planting trees. So what this is going to do is give us a really dense area. Lots of trees going on over in here. That's going to be great for our apiary to have better production. I currently have the apiary looking for beeswax, and this is so we can make soap later. So that's why I have it like that. Down over here, we got our fishing dock up and running. We also have our sand pit. Got one person in there getting some clay for us. We don't have a whole lot right now. We don't really need a ton at this moment. And then back over in the town here, we have our smithy and our tailor and our masonry workshop. All were looking really good. We're a little bit below our caps right now, but we're doing all right. We might need to add a little bit more people in here to make sure that we can achieve those caps again. Over here, we got our sawmill making those planks. That's how we were able to get our fish working. I have the cap set at 60, and as soon as we are at cap, looks like we are already, I was going to go ahead and change this back to domestic fuels. Over here in our farms, I did put in 2 more fields completely with 4 workers, so we have a ton of oats coming in. You can see here that we are about plus 2,000 right now, looking really great with food. Happy about that situation. Here we have 2 people in both water wells. I did had to adjust that a little bit to try and get, well, enough water here. It looks like we are doing pretty good with that. Looks like we're doing pretty good with that. We also completed our police station. So we weren't sure about how this was going to affect things. So let's see if we go up here. There isn't really anything that denotes the police station saying that it does help happiness now. So I'm not sure. There isn't anything over here anymore that says plus 40%. So I'm not sure exactly what the police station is doing at this point, but it's probably good to have it. We do have immigrants that just arrived. We're going to go ahead and accept those people. We have a little bit of wiggle room in our interim housing here. I did build a bunch of houses, so that's doing okay with that. And then over here, you guys mentioned that if you wait too long, we're going to lose one of our animals, and that was the case. We did lose buffalo, but we do have alpaca instead. So we're going to go ahead and get an alpaca in there. I am going to take a couple people out of that one and just do 2 and 2. Somebody mentioned the risk of disease happening with our critters and having these huge pastures like this. If we got a disease, we would totally wipe out. You would be absolutely correct, but we don't have disasters turned on, so diseases aren't going to happen to our pastures. So it's not something we have to worry about, which is pretty nice. But yeah, if you are playing with disasters on, if you're going to do this, you have more than one. In case one gets sick, then you have a backup. So we're going to have alpaca and geese going in. I'm excited about the alpaca because of the fat that we're going to get and the alpaca wool we're going to get. The geese doesn't supply us with any fat, just with feathers and some meat. I do have another pasture queued up here. I didn't want to use 400 timber for it, so we just left it like that. And that's it. We're all caught up. So what I want to do here is to alleviate our timber needs. So we have a couple points here. Well, we have 3 points here. So I was thinking about what we want to do. We could absolutely go down to Forest Farm right here, get Grove, Nursery, and then Forest Farm. But the thing with the Forest Farm is they're going to take clay. Now, we don't have a ton of clay. We're not really using it in all that many spots at the moment. But I think what I want to do instead is I want to try one new thing. And we're going to try a couple of things that we know work. So we're going to go ahead and go to mining. And we're going to grab mining. We're going to get the mine. So we'll activate that. And I'll talk about why I want to get mining in just a second. The other thing that I want to try is going to be under livability. And that's going to be heating. So the boiler room before was really good because it was a spot for people to go when they were far away from their home so that they wouldn't freeze. Now, I was reading this. The boiler room can provide insulation to the buildings in its zone of effect. When boiler room is enabled and working, houses around will stop consuming domestic fuels while being kept insulated. So I'm wondering if this is going to be a more efficient way to heat our homes. And we do have some cut stone. We do have enough to build this. So I want to go ahead and try the heating out and get the boiler rooms and build it within our cities. Well, let's see if it works. And then the other point that I have, I want to do the warehouse. Nothing super crazy, but I want to do something a little bit better than just our storage yards. Over here is getting a little full. And then, of course, we have all these other storage yards over by our fields that are getting kind of plump. Okay, so with our resources, let's go ahead and grab our mine. And I want to see if this mine right here is going to work for us. I bet it will. It's pretty sweet looking. Look at that. It'll work right there. So I want to get coal in here, and we also want to start to get iron. It looks like the two are going to be the only thing. Oh, we got a third one to work there. Great. Okay, we got our mines tied in there. What I want to do is have coal in one and iron in the other. The reason why I want to do the coal is because they can use the coal as the fuel in the house instead of using the domestic fuels from our timber. So it's just a kind of a skipping the processing step and hopefully having enough coal to heat everything. And then we need the iron because, well, I've kind of cleared basically everything that's kind of relatively close. I've cleared it out. We don't have a whole lot of stone sitting around right close or iron right close anymore. We have to go all the way over here to pick up some more of those things, which we can do, but it's just kind of a way out. So I want to be able to start producing that on our own. So that's why we're going to get the mines going here. We should have timber here pretty soon. Let's go ahead and mark a few more trees to get cut up. Okay, with that all marked up, we're going to go ahead and grab the boiler room here. So let's get this guy. And so we want this to be within range of our homes. So let's go over here. It looks like we can almost capture all of our homes if we built it right here, but this spot is going to work pretty good for the houses we currently have. We'll get the boiler room started right there. We just need a few more timbers before we can utilize that. And then, of course, down here in our logistics, we have small warehouse and regular old warehouse. I want to get this pretty close to the town here. We're kind of a ways out for these oats and all these things, so it's a little bit of a ways for the marketplace to get over there to get them. So I want to get it a little bit closer, but not too close to where we're using up our space for houses. So let's go ahead. I'm going to bring a road down right here. And I think we'll put a couple warehouses in that space. So 2 is a decent amount to start with. We'll go ahead and do that. And another thing we could do is build our trading post. We don't have a whole lot of excess things to trade right now, but we could put it in and be ready when we do have some stuff to go. We just got another tech point, and I think what we want to do with that is provide our people a better way to get water. Instead of these wells, we're going to go ahead and get the reservoir. The reservoirs were a very important piece to be getting a large quantity of water, and it does say that here, but I'm wondering if they changed anything with it. So we'll find out here pretty soon. We'll get our reservoir, and let's get a couple placed over here. I'm going to go ahead and we'll do 2 to start with, and then we'll move our well workers over here, and then we'll get rid of the wells that we have, and we'll be getting more water from those guys. And then we also are going to need to activate the second sand pit so we can start to gather sand as well. These reservoirs are requiring 30 sand, which we don't have, so we're going to go ahead and get that going. And we also may as well get a refill started as well. That way we can get our reed started, and then we can start to do some weaving and getting that stuff happening as well. Our mine is nearly completed, so we'll get that working here very shortly. And we're waiting on a couple other things. So let's go ahead and put a couple more workers in our builder cabin. We're really doing great with laborers in this playthrough. I'm happy about it. I'm wondering what I'm doing so differently that is allowing me to have so many. It's possible, though, that they did change the frequency in which we get immigrants, so I'm not sure about that. We do have our boiler room good to go here. We're currently waiting on some domestic fuels to see how this thing works, so we're just going to wait for that. And we'll see if it's any better than filling each one of these houses with its own domestic fuels. In the meantime, though, we could go ahead and add another worker over here, and we're going to have to mark some more wood. So I'm going to go ahead and mark a bunch of these trees down here. We're going to get some things built up, and I'll bring you back in a moment. Okay, welcome back. We are about to get a batch of immigrants here, so we're going to keep our eyes peeled on that. I did go through these fields here, and I took 4 people out of them. Just because we're looking really good on food here. We're plus up, well, now we're about plus 400, so maybe not so great for oats, but overall, we're doing really great with raw food, and I don't really need 10,000 plus right now. We have, you can see here, a ton of oats stored up, so I want to use some of those here before we get just totally overwhelmed by oats. Not that that would be a terrible thing. I don't want to be using those citizens to gather excessive amounts of food when we could be putting them to use someplace else. So we have the 12 immigrants here. Let's go ahead and grab those people. So we're up to 16 laborers. We do have both mines working now. We're going to go ahead and put a couple more people into the coal mine here. We'll get that happening. You may have noticed that little message that just popped up that said that we have fallen back to tier 1 health. So we're kind of bouncing right now in between tier 1 and 2 health. Kind of an interesting little thing there. It tells you now. And then we can see the slightly green thing here, and the heart kind of repairs. So kind of neat little things there that we're noticing. So I was looking at these, and I noticed that religion is only at 10%. So I was like, why is religion only at 10% when our church should encompass everybody, right? Well, then look at over here. Residents in range get health plus 10%. Okay, great. And then they have this thing, medicinal powder. And then if we have this set to yes, 30 per month, structure bonus increases to 30%. Materials with higher quality would be priorly consumed. Now, I think I just said church, didn't I? But this is a clinic, and the medicinal powder is here for consumption. But as well as with our church, or the chapel now, I guess it's called, the residents in range plus 10%, and then it has ceremonial bread, and we have it set to yes, but I don't have any bread, so I'm not sure what this is consuming, if anything. There's no inventory here, nothing, so I'm not sure what that's all about, but there's more detail in this stuff, so that's what my main point is there. So kind of a neat little thing there. We do have over here now, we do have one reservoir up and running. We almost have our second one good to go. We have our reed field started as well. I'm going to go ahead and put another worker in there. Try and get a little bit more reeds coming in. We're only at about 70. What I want to do with the reeds is make baskets here. Because of this long distance going back and forth, the baskets would be really good to have. And because of that distance and going back and forth, I did decide to do another boiler room over here. We're kind of waiting on some timber, it looks like, but that's okay. We'll have that shortly. To see... just so that the people don't have to go so far to get warm again. So that's on the way. But speaking of our boiler rooms, it's been a couple of years here, and we have a whole lot of nothing in the inventory of our boiler room. So I don't really know what the deal is with that thing, but hopefully we get some coal in there shortly to see how that works. Okay, so I just said that our food was looking great, and now it's in the red. So we'll have to make an adjustment for that. It looks like now we're at minus 1,000 food. That's not great. So we have been accepting more and more immigrants, so that's kind of inevitable. So we're going to go ahead, and because the new season is nearly upon us, we're going to go ahead and put those 4 workers back in here. And what I think we'll do to get ready for the future needs, we're going to go ahead and grab our farm, and I think we were doing 11 by 11s. Yes, so that's at 22, so we were going by 11 by 11. All right, I got the 4 placed in there, and then we have our road in there as well, so that'll be great. Probably not use all 4 of those right away. Well, definitely not, because we only have 2 laborers now all of a sudden. What the heck happened? Died of thirst. That's not great. So we do have the 2 big wells maxed out over here. We just showed you the reservoirs. Let's see if the other reservoir is done yet. Almost. So we'll get that working here shortly. 40 water so far this year on that reservoir versus 108 on our big well. So let's check back in that reservoir here shortly to see if it's really producing what it should be. It should be significantly more than the big wells here. And then I'm kind of thinking about what we want to do next. And I'm thinking that we're probably going to want to get into some schooling. So I do have our school placed. We're still waiting on some more timber to get built. Of course, always waiting on wood here. Until we really get a good stockpile of that coal, it's going to continuously be needing wood for things. We're using 2 sawmills right now, both with 3 people, both making domestic fuels to try and keep up with our fuel needs. And it's been a struggle right now. We aren't losing people to frost and cold yet, but I'm really hoping that we can keep up with it enough to not have that issue. We're doing okay for now, but we're got to keep our eye on that for sure. We may need to, in the next episode, start to go down into our forest farm like we mentioned. At that time, hopefully we have enough clay started, enough stored up. We can make a good forest farm, get a bunch of people working on that, and then hopefully we can start to have a good grip on our timber. Another thing that I had thought up, when we're getting all these immigrants, super great, right? Until we get one with some disease that we can't deal with. So the next thing that's going to deal with the next disease is bathhouse. So the bathhouse is a pretty nice thing to get. Helps with your health, of course. But this thing is going to need bedding sets. So we're not able to do that at this moment. But the soap workshop has bricks. So these two things are something that we can't quite do yet, but I would really like to get figured out. So we may need to get our trade up and running, like we mentioned, and get some pottery happening or something else to trade out to get some coins to get these things. Or we just work on making them our own. For the bricks, we are going to need to get into refined fuel and the calcining kiln, which we can do. But I think I want to get the forest farms up and running before we do that. There is smoke rising from the forest, and soon people can confirm that it is a fire. Since it is not big yet, should we put out the fire first or cut down surrounding trees to stop the spread of fire? Let's cut down those surrounding trees. Okay, so what happens now is if you wait too long, you just come over here to the text in the bottom left, go ahead and click on that, and we're going to go ahead and cut down the surrounding trees. Citizens successfully stopped the fire from spreading and also caught some animals trying to escape. Oh, we got some leather. Okay, 419 leather. That's pretty good. Oh, if you may have noticed, we have some textiles. We have some backpacks happening over here. We got an event that gave us a bunch of backpacks, so we've been having those temporarily here until we run out, of course. Our clothes are starting to fall behind again. So what I'm going to do is put... Ooh, I would really like to put another worker in there. That's what I was going to say. Just because I want to be able to keep up with that situation. So let's go back over here. Did our reservoir get completed? It did. Okay. So let's go ahead and open this slot. Put somebody in there. We'll hop back over here to our big wells and take somebody out of there. We'll do that on both. See where we're sitting here. So we had 236 on that reservoir. This one's at 120. So it's still working. It's still in the middle of the year. We'll have to check back again. See what that's looking like. All right, so in between episodes, what will probably happen is we'll get our school up and running, and then we'll start to educate our people for some more efficient workers, and that'll be awesome. And then we'll go ahead and get into those forest farms, like I mentioned, and we'll get our timber under control for sure. It'll be looking really good once we get our coal going, and we'll have all those things contributing to lessen the strain on our timber income. It's a difficult thing to deal with early game, but the forest farms will help us deal with it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic and amazing rest of your evening, day, or night, and I'll see you again soon.